Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of our podcast, Season 2, Episode 3, the OT podcast, ready to roll here for Week 3 of the NFL season, buddy. So last week, Owen went a whopping 13-3. I went 12-4, so he did get the trophy.
14-2.
Oh,
yeah,
look at this guy.
That, yeah.
But anyway, this week we both tied at 8-8, so we kind of agreed to just have this in the middle. For future episodes, we'll probably do it to where like whoever wins has more wins in total just gets the trophy for that week.
I highly doubt anyone's gonna tie this week. I don't think we're gonna pick the same teams.
I doubt we're gonna pick the same teams like last time. Believe it or not, we did. So week 3 predictions, we're ready to go. Owen started out Thursday Night Football, Jets Patriots. It's gonna be a weird one. What are you thinking?
Well, last week going into Thursday Night Football, we actually kind of had a good game, like Bills Dolphins. So who's gonna win it? Obviously, it ended up being like a blowout. So I'm sure most fans didn't enjoy it too much.
Right.
But this game on paper is not looking too fun. Patriots, Jets. Both teams are 1-1. Patriots, like their games have been like defense running the football. It's been a lot of that. And for the Jets, it's kind of just been a bit of a mess really so far. I'd say the only reason why the Jets even really won last week is because of Will Levis. I feel like that's the biggest reason why they lost last week.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, they probably only get the field goal on that drive because it was third down and shovel passing it back. Even if the player catches that, it's fourth down, they kick the field goal. And they ended up losing by 4. So right at the end, that field goal, if they would have made a field goal instead of going for it there, they wouldn't have got it anyway. So you can argue either way. I think that in that situation, they might have had different play calling, though, so who knows.
Yeah, this is a tough decision to make, though. I am going to stick with the Jets. I'm going to stick on the Jet train here a little bit.
Right.
I mean, the Patriots shown that they're a better team than we thought they were, but, I mean, at some point, you do feel like the Jets may start clicking at some point, and you don't know when it's going to happen, if it is going to happen at all. I'm not saying the Jets are going to be, like, amazing in this game. I'm just saying they're going to be good enough to win.
Right.
So, yeah, give me the Jets to win this one Thursday night.
Yeah,
and a boring one.
Yeah, and a boring one. I think that the Jets win as well. My score prediction here is 21-10. If you want Owens' score predictions, guys, make sure you watch his few minute-long videos, normally around 3 to 4 minutes long. So if you're interested in that, always check those out. He has those for you on his channel. Obviously, he's going to give you the winners today, but the actual predictions of who wins by how much will be on that YouTube video.
Meister.
But for my own personal prediction, I have 21-10. I think this is a game where the offense is going to have a solid outing. I think they're going to do a good job getting the ball to Breece Hall and kind of just working off the play action, getting kind of plays like that. And as for New England, everyone's been impressed with the start to the season that they've had. And honestly, I'm not, only for the simple fact that I think here's the deal. I think New England's kind of similar to some teams we've seen in the past where they start the season off pretty good because no one really knows what they're going to do. You have no idea how the Patriots were going to play. You didn't know what they were going to run. And now that we're noticing a pattern here back-to-back weeks where all they do really is run the ball with Stevenson and Gibson and throw the ball when they absolutely have to, I think teams are going to start game planning for this, and they're going to start to catch on and kind of just take it away. And it's similar to Patrick Mahomes in that second season after his rookie year, if you will, where he went nuts in 2018 and had all those touchdowns. Everybody kind of figured him out and noticed, okay, well, we know what to do to stop him this time. And then you saw the numbers kind of fall down the next year. I think that's what we're seeing right now just in one season, not over the course of 2 years. I think that's the thing with Mahomes that makes him so good, though, is it took 2 years for that to happen. Obviously, with the Patriots, I don't think that's the case. I think that we're going to kind of notice a theme here for the rest of the year. And the Jets are going to catch on. They're going to be they're a very smart, educated football team. The one thing that does kind of scare me a little bit in this game is I do think Robert Saleh is the worse head coach than Gerard Mayo, and a lot of people might disagree with that, but I do not disagree. I think Gerard Mayo is a very good coach, so I'm going to go with the New York Jets in this one, 21-10. So, heading into our next game, we have the Cleveland Browns and the New York Giants, a kind of another snooze fest to start off the week. What are your thoughts on this one with Danny Dimes?
Oof. Well, I will say, I guess the offense, was better last week. I feel like they would have had a really good chance to win if, their kicker was healthy, but of course their kicker had to get hurt.
Yeah.
That's just the luck for the Giants right now for you guys. But playing the Browns didn't have a great game either. I mean, they won by 5 points, 18-13, like a random scored game against the Jaguars. The Jaguars are going through some issues right now. So I don't know if I'd say it's like a great effort by like the Browns defense. I mean, sure, they only gave up 13 points, so I'd say it's pretty impressive. but the Jaguars have been going through a little bit of some growing pains, if you will, on offense. And then for the Browns offensively, they didn't really do a whole lot in the game. Like, they scored 18 points. It's not really impressive. Deshaun Watson didn't flash off the screen at all. It was a very kind of sluggish kind of game. And I feel like that's what you're going to see a lot here is another kind of sluggish game. I'm going to have the Browns winning this one. It's kind of hard right now to just pick the Giants to win any sort of game right now, especially with how Daniel Jones
is Panthers game's coming up, so I mean.
Oh my God! Isn't that in Germany?
It is in Germany.
Thank God it's not in the States.
Nobody would show up to that game.
Literally, but
so you're going Cleveland.
Yes, I think it's going to be a lot. It could be a lot closer if Deshaun Watson still plays like crap, like he has been the first 2 weeks. This can be a very close game, but the Browns do have a good defense. They haven't really played great yet.
Right.
But yeah, their defense is still pretty solid, and any average defense is going to be really tough for Daniel Jones to overcome. Sorry to say that, but it's true.
It's true. It is.
But yeah, give me the Browns to win this one.
Well, I'm on the same train as you. Early, we're both picking the same 2 teams, which is scaring me, but we got some good ones. Trust me. We got some good games coming up, so
yes.
Trust us, trust the process. But I think Cleveland wins this game 23-13. I think it's going to be a very good game. I saw your face. I'm sorry.
It's because Brandon Bean, man. Or
yeah, McDermott, yeah. But we did make the playoffs that same year, but I do think Cleveland wins 23-13 in this one. I think the Giants don't really match up well in this game. One thing about the Giants' defense that I think is very good is their pressure. I think they're going to force Watson to make some plays and stuff like that, and like have to run and move around in the pocket, and I think that could be nerve-wracking. But at the same time, they have a very good O-line if healthy this week. Jack Conklin should be coming back, and we'll see kind of see how the Jedrick Wills things goes. So I think he's still out for at least a couple more weeks, but maybe he gets into this game, and honestly, if that happens, I don't think the Giants have a chance in hell at that point, because realistically, the only part of their defense that's really good is that front seven, that pass rush.
Amazing
and
pass rush.
If they have an offensive line like the Browns, where they're not going to be able to get through with the starters out there, I think that Deshaun Watson, Jerome Ford, they have a very good game and they win this one easily. But the thing is without that happening, I'm going to predict this game 23-13. I do think the Giants get some more offensive going, just like you said, how the Browns defense has kind of been slow to start. I think they'll get a little bit more points in, like if this is week 12, week 13, then I think they would get then maybe 3 to 10 points is what I'm thinking in that one. Instead, we're going to go with 13. So I do think this one's going to be a good game, but give me Cleveland winning this one. And also, real quick, with Deshaun Watson, last week he actually looked very good. He had 5 receivers drop a pass last week, which he's the first quarterback in NFL history to have 5 receivers in 1 week drop a pass. I don't know if anybody knows that stat.
I didn't know that
but
stat.
I'm not an advocate for Deshaun Watson, trust me, but I will defend him on that. I think he looked good last week, and if those few drops are different, one was on a 3rd and 11. That was right at the sticks. Amari Cooper couldn't hold on. And right there,
there's a deep pass too to Amari Cooper. The other one he dropped, he was wide open, right through his hands.
That's what happens though. And realistically, I think that's what's going to be the deciding factor for the Cleveland Browns is if those receivers can come out and do that. And I think they do in this game, and they're going to win this one by 10. So the next game we're going to talk about here is going to be the Eagles and the Saints. 2 teams that are kind of on different spots right now. The Saints are looking nuts. Everybody's going absolutely crazy over the Saints right now.
Right.
They've been doing very good things, especially heading into last season, Week 18, when they dropped 48 points. They had 47 this year in Week 1, and then last week they had 43, 44, something like that.
They had 44 against the Cowboys, and then 47 against the Panthers.
Yeah, so 44 and 47. They lead the league in scoring right now on offense, obviously. But other than that, on defensive side of the things, it's very close too. They've been looking very good. So what are your thoughts in this game?
You know, the Saints did come out. They put a statement to the league against Dallas. But, you know, it is the Cowboys. It is the Cowboys. The Eagles, they had that game on Monday night last night. They had that game.
They had it.
Went right through Saquon Barkley's hands.
Went right through.
Which, honestly...
To be fair, they should have won it a lot sooner.
Yeah, and for the Eagles, that games like that concern me. Because I picked the Eagles to win the NFC, if anyone knows that. But a game like that scares me a lot because it's like that reminds me of the team that completely like shit the bed at the end of the last season and everything, which does scare me a little bit. But I'm gonna go with the Saints. winning this one.
Whoa.
The Saints made a statement last week. So if the Saints and the Saints fans think they are really that good, continue the dominance. Yeah, you may not have to dominate them, as long as you can beat the Eagles. If you can beat the Cowboys and Eagles in back-to-back weeks, that is very well deserving, easily top 10 team if they can do that back-to-back weeks. But yeah, Saints show up. See if you can put everything together and keep winning these games. Because I'm picking you. I'm buying into the hype.
Obviously, by my shock, I have the Eagles winning this one.
Of course.
27-24. I think this is going to be a good game, and I'm very happy that we both picked different teams because
I had to.
But I do think that 27-24 is a fair score here for the Philadelphia Eagles to win. I do think that the Saints have been doing very good things, and I think this one could be higher scoring. But this is similar for me like the Lions-Bucks game was this week, where I thought, oh, wow, 35-31. It's going to be a shootout. I think this one's going to end up being a little bit more of the defenses showing up, similar to that Lions-Buccaneers game was, where the defenses were just going back and forth with turnovers back and forth like that. I don't think it's going to be on the turnover side. I think it'll be more punts, but I do think that this game stays very close and lower scoring for the most part. Until the fourth quarter, they probably ramp it up a little bit, and that's what eventually reaches my final score. I think it's going to be a very good game. I do think the Eagles' offense is going to finally get it together. Devontae Smith looked absolutely insane. A.J. Brown is still out with injury, but they will have Jahan Dotson for this game, which I'm not sure really what happened with him last week. Like, last night, he really was not a factor. But I think getting another week into this new team system, I think they're going to have a solid game. I think they're going to come out here with a good game plan. And realistically, I don't think the Saints' defensive front is going to be able to stop Barkley like the Lions, not the Lions, but the Falcons' defensive front did. I do think that they'll be able to work off play action and kind of learn that they can't just lean on Barkley now that Brown's out. So I think that being said, they're going to end up coming out here with a better game plan. They'll be able to stop Derek Carr at least a few times on defense, I think. I don't think Kamara will have the great game he had last week. Realistically, the Eagles' front's going to be very good, so running the ball is going to be hard. And one of the things that they've been doing very well is working off play action. If that's anything that their offensive coordinator knows how to do, it's learn how to determine when people are going to think they're going to run or pass. He knows it. He's very smart and well-educated in that regard, but I think this is the week that it finally catches up to him, and I think we're going to see some mistakes on the Saints side. So give me the Eagles in this one to win. And then our next one is the Vikings and the Texans.
Oh.
This one could be a lot closer than people expect. The Vikings are 2-0. They just beat the 49ers, albeit the beat-up 49ers.
Well,
I mean, without McCaffrey, without Kittle for the second half for the most part.
Without Samuel
and without Samuel, too. And
that's taken away so much from the Vikings right now.
Yeah, no, but at the same time, not to take away from the Vikings, they did have a solid game, and then they beat the Giants week 1, so let's be real here. It's the Giants, but I do think that the Vikings team is better than people have expected this year. They've definitely surprised a lot of people. Obviously, I knew Sam Darnold was going to be solid, but the thing is realistically, nobody really thought that full. So now you're going up against a team that's one of the best teams in the league in Houston. You're going up against an amazing defense that shut down Caleb Williams on Sunday Night Football. What are your thoughts on this one?
Well, obviously, I'm going with the Texans in this one.
Right.
And because, Super Bowl pick and everything. But Sam Darnold...
It's only week 3, bro. You don't have to pick him over the...
Yeah, it's still, I got to pick him.
I mean, you picked the Eagles to win the NFC, and you just had them lose to the Saints. So.
I did, but Sam Darnold did play really impressive. I've been very impressed with Sam Darnold these first 2 weeks. For now, I'd say it's safe to say that he's proved me wrong for now. Unless, he turns back to his old form, which hopefully for his sake and Vikings fans' sake... That does not happen.
It might just have been a Panthers thing. Him and Mayfield have looked nuts since leaving.
It could have been, but the Vikings' defense has been playing pretty well to start the season, too. I mean, of course, you had the Giants last week, or 2 weeks ago, and then you had the Niners last week.
The beat-up 49ers, too.
But the beat-up 49ers, that's a very similar team. Like, they still had Kittle for parts of the game. They had Deebo Samuel for parts of the game. The whole first half, exactly. And this team put up 31 points against the Jets' defense in Week 1. And the Vikings
32.
held them to what? 30. Oh, it's 32 points. Sorry. But the Vikings held the 49ers to only 17 points last week. So I feel like we got to start putting some more respect on this Vikings defense. But the Texans, I feel like I still feel like they're the team of destiny this year. I feel like Nick Wright talking like this, but again, the offense just so loaded, defense, loads of talent, and they didn't have the greatest game last week. But the Bears' defense, I feel like, is also proving to be one of the best in the league early to start the season. But going against Caleb Williams, I don't know how really impressive that is because very early in the season, the Bears are still figuring out a lot on offense right now. So I feel like that's kind of fair to say in that regard. But I got the Texans winning this one. Again, no scores. That's on my YouTube channel. I'm guessing you also have the Texans, question mark?
I do have the Texans here, 24-16. I just actually erased what I had, 27-17.
I convinced you a little bit.
Yeah, a little, but I think 24-16 is fair. I think that Sam Darnold's going to have a solid game. I feel like they're going to get some drives where they go down the field, but they only get field goals, and that's why I have 16 instead of 17. I do think that the offensive line is going to stay intact for most of this game for Minnesota. I think that they're going to have their work cut out for them on the opposite side, which is for Houston. I think that Will Anderson will have a solid game, but I'm not sure about the rest of the team there on the D-line. I think they're going to be able to run the ball pretty well in this game. I think Aaron Jones is going to have a solid game. They can work off play action. That could be how they win. But I do think that Houston's offense is going to get them the win in this one. I do think that of the three teams they played so far, that Houston has the best offense. Not when healthy, the 49ers obviously do. But right now, with the way it looks right now, I have to go with the Houston Texans offense over the 49ers in that regard. So I'm going to go ahead and say Houston wins this one, 24-16. It should be a very good game. I'm expecting it to be close. I'm hoping it is close. I think Sam Darnold's done a great job with that Minnesota team, and they're going to be fired up. But this is one that it's tough because, you got a very good team early in the season. You're going to have to take an L eventually, and right here is where their first L happens. I think it's going to be a good game, though. So,
all right.
And then our next one, a bit of a snoozer, Bucks and Broncos. Tampa Bay looking for its third straight win of the season so far. What are you thinking happens here?
I think they will get that third straight win to start off the season.
Oh, my God, and what an upset pick.
No way! Yeah, the Broncos were terrible last week. Offensively. Defensively, they played pretty well.
They prayed.
they played pretty well, like the Saints.
Yeah, oh my God.
But yeah, we both kind of predicted that the Broncos did terribly on offense, and that's kind of exactly what they did.
They prayed for their offense to get any points.
Yeah, okay. You're going to hold that in my head all semester, aren't you?
No, I'm only kidding.
But, yeah, the Buccaneers, they played a really tight game against the Lions. It was looking very similar. Yeah, I'm keep forgetting what team we're going against, but it was a very close game. Like, it was a close game even through the end of the game, and it was looking like a repeat of the divisional game until it wasn't, because the Jared Goff kind of had an off day. It felt like
kinda. He did have a Goff
day.
Yeah,
he did a Goff day.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, that's so funny. But yeah, the Buccaneers able to get it done. Lions, I feel like, kind of got all screwed up in that one. And there's just not a whole lot going for the Broncos right now. Their defense has been playing pretty well to start off the season.
I mean, they got.
But so has Baker Mayfield. So. Baker Mayfield's been one of the best quarterbacks in the league statistically to start off the season, if not the best quarterback in the league. And I feel like it's kind of hard to go away from the hot hand of the Buccaneers right now. Even though, again, they only scored 20 points last week, they were still highly efficient offensively, it felt like.
Right.
And the Broncos, they're still trying to figure out a lot of stuff right now, especially, again, offensively.
I can't believe that game is at 1 o'clock.
Well, that's just kind of how the schedule worked out,
I mean, they really shouldn't have had that many games in the 1 o'clock window.
Oh, yeah, last week, the Deca box.
Yeah, there was too many games.
Not too many. I enjoyed it, though.
I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go out on a limb here and pick the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. No.
Oh, okay.
31-10 is my prediction, and that's being generous. I do think the Broncos get a touchdown. I'm sorry, but Bo Nix has not looked great to start the year. The defense has been the only bright spot. I think that they're going to be worn down a lot. And when you're going up against Baker Mayfield, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, etc., you're going to have to – something's got to give. Because if you're going to have to kick the ball back to them that many times, eventually they're going to break through. And they're not the Pittsburgh Steelers where it's going to be a punt fest back and forth. They're going to go down and they're going to get points often. And I think in this game, it's going to cost the Denver Broncos a lot, especially in the first half. They're probably going to be down like 17-3 at halftime. I would not be surprised.
Damn.
I think this game is going to be cooked, man. I don't see any way the Broncos win this one. Now that I said that, they probably will.
It's a trap game.
But
it's a classic trap
game. I
game.
think not Houston, I'm looking at my scores, but I think Tampa Bay wins and fire the cannons. I think 3-0, man. I understand this one's against Denver, but you beat the Bucs and the Commanders before. Not the Bucs. You beat the Lions.
You beat themselves.
Beat the Lions and the Commanders before. So I do think they have a good game. I think they're going to win and improve to 3-0 and head into Week 4 as one of the few remaining unbeaten teams potentially.
Interesting.
So our next game here, Malik Willis returning to Tennessee. Packers and the Titans in a snooze fit. No, I'm kidding.
No.
I think this one will be somewhat solid. It's just, I think this one will be a little more lower scoring, so we'll see how that goes. But, Owen, do you have Malik Willis winning in his return to Tennessee?
You know, I will say, I do feel like in those first 2 games for the Titans, they could have easily won both of them. It's just that the costly mistakes by we all know who in those games kind of cost them the win in those games.
Mayonnaise man.
Yeah, mayonnaise man. The Packers, they're amazing at running the football last week. Josh Jacobs did what he had to do, and he put the team on his back to help him win that game last week against the Colts. Given Anthony Richardson didn't really play that well of a game, but credit to the Packers defense, they played a hell of a game. And Malik Willis, he didn't turn the ball over, did he? I don't think he did. So that's something you, of course, want to see out of a backup quarterback going into a situation like that. But in this game, it's really tough. I'm going to have Malik Willis getting his revenge in Week 3. I'm going to ride the Packers again.
You're going to ride the Packers.
Please stop talking.
Oh my god.
I would have if this was a game in like Week 1. I mean, I probably still would have picked the Packers, but if Will Levis,
David would have cried.
If Will Levis hasn't been making the mistakes he has been the first 2 weeks, I would have picked the Titans to win this game. But right now, I do not trust the quarterback play of Will Levis right now. And what's kind of crazy to say, I might even trust Malik Willis more than Will Levis. So take for that what you will. But I got the Packers continuing to ride the defense and having Josh Jacobs churn down the field for yardage. I got the Packers winning and going to 2-1.
Ooh, that's impressive. Malik Willis already has more wins than Jordan Love this year. Just want to throw that out.
Oh my god.
But
quarterback controversy, guys.
So hear me out. I think this is going to be such a good game. I think it's going to be back and forth the whole way. It's really hard to choose either one. I think that realistically the quarterback situation is going to be what it comes down to. Will Levis versus Malik Willis. Can Malik Willis do it back-to-back weeks? Can Tennessee prevent themselves from messing up in back-to-back-to-back games? I think realistically here that Tennessee's got the better football team, like around the quarterback in a lot of senses, except for maybe running back and the O-line. I think that those 2 things are
2 really big things, by the way.
Yeah, well, yeah, I know, but at the same time, I do think that Tennessee wins this game. I'm gonna have them winning 17-16. Yes, I have them scoring 17 again, just kind of for the memes. At that point,
no logic, just the memes.
No, I just think Tennessee. I think they'll struggle a lot in this game, but I'm certainly thinking that they'll have a better game than the Colts did last week. I think they're gonna understand kind of how they're gonna approach this game, and then again, I think the Malik Willis situation is similar to what I said with the Patriots at the beginning of this, and also last year with Zach Wilson in Week 1, where Buffalo wasn't prepared to play Zach Wilson, so we didn't have the right game plan. This week, everybody knows what they're going to do with Malik Willis now. They have a great idea of how they're going to use Malik Willis. They're going to know what they're doing. And I think Tennessee's hungry for that win. They're like, okay, back-to-back weeks. We had the Jets on the ropes. We had the Bears on the ropes, and we just couldn't finish football games. I think Brian Callahan wants his first win. I think Will Levis wants to shed that label off his back. I think they're going to come out hungry in this game, and I think they're going to get the job done in a close one. I just think they have that extra bit of an edge, and I'm going to go 17-16. Very close game, but give me the Titans to win the Malik Willis revenge tour.
All right.
That's
we disagree on 2
game.
games already.
Ooh.
I'm liking this.
Next one we got is the Colts and the Bears. Colts had a terrible week against the Green Bay Packers. The Bears were staying in it for the most part against Houston, but obviously the Texans prevailed in that game on Sunday night. So what are your thoughts on this one as they kind of battle for the Middle West of the United States?
You know, it's another game where I feel like you can kind of pick either team right now because the Colts almost feel like a coin flip right now. Either their offense is going to be great or they're going to be bad. Yeah, there's really no in between right now with them.
The defense is pretty consistent.
Yeah, the defense is. Same with the Chicago Bears being consistently good.
Yes.
It was really great. I was really impressed with their defense against the Texans.
By the way, Buckner is trending to starting in this game. I figured I'd let you know that beforehand.
Okay.
I don't know if that changes anything, but
no, I already wrote it down in ink. I already got my team winning.
Your team?
They're not my team, but
now
looking at these two teams, it is a coin flip with the Colts offense, whether it's going to be good or bad. But for the Bears, I feel like we already know how they're going to be, and I feel like it's going to be probably bad. Because the first 2 weeks has been pretty rough, and they could turn it around at any moment. They could turn it up in week 3 and play amazing, don't get me wrong. But we just haven't seen it yet, and that's like something predicting like, well, we never seen Bryce Young play well, but he's going to do great this week. Like, even though he's benched, but, it's
everybody with Trevor Lawrence breaking out, literally.
You.
Yeah, okay, bro.
Brian Thomas, offensive rookie of the year.
No, I didn't say that.
Yeah, I know. But give me the Colts to win this one. I'm kind of a wait until I see it kind of person. I haven't seen the Bears offense play well yet. And then I saw the Colts offense play well week 1. That could have been just a week 1 gaffe, and they're just bad the rest of the season. For the Colts, I don't think that's the case.
Remember that year when the Jags beat the Colts in week 1 and then lost the last 15 games of the season?
Oh my God, that was crazy.
The year they had Minshew and everyone was like, oh my God.
And the year they went 2-14 and we were one of the 2 teams they beat.
Yeah, oh my God, stop. 9-6.
Terrible.
Bro, I remember that game. But yeah, Bears?
No, I said Colts. But I feel like, are you picking the Bears?
I am picking the Bears.
Oh, 3 games!
I think that the Colts are frauds. No, I'm kidding. I do think that this game is a matchup between two teams that are literally as mid as you can get in standings wise. They're both 1-1. They're both coming in with realistically just weird vibes I get from both teams. It's not like I get championship contenders, but I'm not getting terrible teams. I have them like both in the 7 to 10 range for their wins. I think that they could both be from anywhere from 7 to 10 realistically. I think that's their obvious projection. And so realistically with these two teams, it's kind of back and forth, but I'm going to go with Chicago 20-17. When Anthony Richardson plays bad, that entire team plays bad. I don't know what it is, but they just can't win the game.
It's like Josh Allen.
Yeah, not really, though. I mean, Josh Allen didn't really play that great last week. And
he just didn't have to do much. Anthony Richardson does.
Not really. You got Jonathan Taylor. You got a great offensive line. You can run the ball.
Was Jonathan Taylor running the ball well last week?
He was. He had over 100 yards on 15 carries. It's 13 for 103 or something like that. He had 10 yards a carry. He was doing insane.
Should have used him more.
But yeah, I know. Should have used him a lot. You should have used him a lot, DJ Moore. But I think that this game will be solid. I think it's going to go back and forth for most of this one. I really struggled picking who would win this game, and I wanted to lean with the Colts here, but I think that Chicago is going to get it done. I think Caleb Williams is just ready to get rid of that label as well, similar to what I said with the last game with Tennessee. I think Caleb Williams is done being told that he's trash and this, that, the third, and that he can't perform, he can't do this and stuff. And I think that this is going to be the game that they finally turn that around. And 20-17 is not exactly the greatest thing ever, but I do think that that's going to be a solid score for this one. I do think that in a perfect world, the Colts would win this game. But with all these different things, whose defense do I trust more? And that's the Chicago Bears. And I think that the defense is going to be what it comes down to. So 20-17, Chicago gets the win in this one. And that kind of segues us into another defensive duel, in my opinion, the Steelers and the Chargers. Back and forth on this one as well. Owen, does Jim Harbaugh start out 3-0 with the Chargers?
I'll answer that in a second here. Both teams 2-0 going into this matchup. Steelers defense been playing like one of the best defenses in the league. They've been great to start.
Yep.
Justin Fields 2-0 as the Steelers starting quarterback. So take for that away what you will. But Jim Harbaugh does get his third straight win to start the season. From what I've seen with the Steelers offense, it has not been good. I'm going to be honest. No. 13 points, was it, against the Broncos defense?
Yeah, 13.
That's not good.
And they had I think they had 11 drives. something like that. They had 11 or 12 drives because the Broncos just kept punting the ball back to them. It was just a snooze fest. If anybody actually watched that game, first of all, my condolences. But second of all, field goal, punt, field goal, punt. Touchdown! The touchdown right at the beginning, and everyone's like, okay, maybe some more off. Oh.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, that was it.
Nice
Think about
2-minute show.
But yeah. It's me in bed.
If the... Okay. Alright, I'll see you guys next week. No. Okay. I lost my train of thought now with that. Oh my god. But if the Steelers put up 13 points against a defense like the Broncos, the Chargers have a better defense than the Broncos. At least in my opinion, they do.
Oh, yeah.
So,
let them cook.
What that tells me is that the Steelers' offense is going to continue to struggle in this game.
I don't know, Jim.
Yeah, it's a very tough one, but... God, I forgot the match. Okay, Chargers.
Chargers.
They've been pretty solid. They haven't really needed to lean on Justin Herbert thus far. And sure, he did have a couple turnovers against the Panthers, but I mean, it's not going to kill you. It's the Panthers. But Quentin Johnston, he's finally made it to the NFL just a season later than he should have. But Quentin Johnston, 2 touchdowns against the Panthers, and I guess if there's any team that he was going to do that against, it's going to be the Panthers.
Oh yeah. He was wide open on that slant.
But yeah, this is definitely going to be a back and forth slugfest in this one.
Only Carolina can make Quentin Johnston look good.
Yeah, this is a game again. It's going to come down to which offense is really going to play better, and by far it's going to be the Chargers, I think. Even though against it's a defense like the Steelers, I feel like they're going to come out with a good game plan in this one. And I think Jim Harbaugh is going to kind of put the league on notice and be like, hey, don't forget about me, guys. I was in a Super Bowl before with the 49ers. You know, I'm still a great coach in this league, and I think he's going to prove it here in this one against the Steelers.
Yeah, I also have the Chargers winning this one. I think Jim Harbaugh is going to get his 3-0 start. So, one thing with the Pittsburgh Steelers that we've noticed over the last few years, obviously, is they're always mediocre. They're right there in the middle of the pack. I think they'll have 9, maybe 10 wins this year. Honestly, beating the Falcons, they have more wins than I thought they would have right now. So, I do think that this is a very good game. I think it's going to come down, like you said, to which offense plays better. And, yes, I trust Justin Herbert, and I do think that Justin Herbert's going to have a solid game in this one. It's just, with T.J. Watt on the other side, it's really anyone's game, and it always will be when T.J. Watt's lining up on the opposite side from the offense. And
unless
I do
it's the
think,
Chiefs.
Yeah, unless it's the Chiefs. But I think this is going to be a solid game. I think it's going to come down to which offense plays better, obviously. So I think that J.K. Dobbins will have a solid game. He won't be able to do too much, considering it's a very good defensive front for the Pittsburgh Steelers. That, of course, consists of T.J. Watt. But if there's any quarterback in the league where you're going to ask to throw the ball like 30, 40 times in the game, there's not many more than I would trust than Justin Herbert. And I think Justin Herbert will have a solid game. It's just more concerning about the receiving core. I do think that Pittsburgh's offense struggles again in this one. 17-10 is my score. So I think that it's going to be back and forth realistically, kind of like the Broncos game last week. But like you mentioned, the Broncos defense is a little worse than the Chargers, so I did have 3 less points by 17-10 math there. I do think that they'll be fine. I think the Chargers get this one done, and Jim Harbaugh, like you said, puts the league on notice, but not only because of the fact that they win this game, but because they beat the coach on the opposite sideline.
Exactly.
He out-coaches one of the best coaches to ever do it, Mike Tomlin, and I think that you can kind of make an advocation that this team is legit. They could literally be in the running for a playoff spot.
That Chargers-Chiefs game in a couple of weeks is going to be it's going to be an interesting game, isn't it?
I think the defense will do solid, but the offense is because no receivers, but we'll see. So moving into the next one, we have the Tua-less Dolphins and the Seattle Seahawks. It will be at Lumen Field in Seattle. I think it's going to be a solid game. What are your thoughts, Owen? Does Skylar Thompson win his debut, or is it Tyler Huntley? Is Huntley going to start?
No, it's going to be Skylar Thompson.
It's going to be Skylar.
Skylar Thompson.
Does Skylar Thompson get it done?
You know, I was really back and forth in this game because
really,
the Seahawks. I mean, they did kind of struggle a bit against the Patriots. If it wasn't for that blown coverage touch on the DK Metcalf, there's a good chance.
We're talking about a different outcome, yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about a completely different outcome into that game. And the Dolphins, sure, they did collapse against the Bills, but let's be honest, the Bills kind of owned the Dolphins a little bit. Not to, brag or anything, but just
you're
throwing that out there.
You're right.
But I feel like this game can go either one of 2 ways. Either the Dolphins are going to be able to run the ball effectively, milk that clock, move down the field efficiently, Thompson just doing what he has to do, like not a whole lot. Or Skylar Thompson's going to be a complete bum and be the reason why the Dolphins only score like 10 points. And that's the only reason why Seattle wins is because their offense couldn't get much going. And I'm going to have to go with the Seahawks in this one. It was very tough for me to pick.
Seahawk Tua's. Got it?
Oh, okay. All right. I always lose my train of thought when you do stuff like that. It messes with me so much.
I'm sorry.
But, it's just a really tough game. I feel like Seattle's going to be able to do just enough offensively. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think it's going to be a very close game again. And honestly, for me, it's kind of hard to see the Seahawks starting the season 3-0. But here we are.
Yeah.
Here we are. The Seahawks,
teams they played, the Broncos, the Patriots, two of the worst teams in the AFC, and now the Dolphins without Tua.
Dolphins without Tua. But
realistically, man, ugh.
It's tough, though, because you still got great receivers, too. You still got Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. All he needs to do is throw a 3-yard pass, and it can turn into a 70-yard pass, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
So you never know with the Dolphins. It's really tough. I do want to pick the Dolphins, but it's how much do I really trust Skylar Thompson? So I'm going to go with the safer pick and pick the Seahawks.
Yeah, I'm on the same train here. I go Seattle winning in this one. And so here's the thing. I do think Skylar Thompson's not a terrible quarterback. He almost beat us in a playoff game a couple years ago.
Never speak of that game again.
I'm sorry, but I mean, you got to say it sometimes. Realistically, that's the only real sample we have of him playing in a football game. And that was so important. So he kept up in that game. I think he will do the exact same in this one. I think it's going to be back and forth. I think they're going to have a solid game. The only thing that makes me nervous about this game is, like you mentioned, you have Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle for him as weapons. But you also have Tariq Woolen on the other side, as well as Devin Witherspoon as well in the secondary. And when you have both of those guys, I'm sorry, but you're going to be shut down for most of this game. And after the week they just had last week against Jamarcus Ingram and Cam Lewis, and I'm a diehard Bills fan, but they're nowhere even close to Tariq Woolen and Devin Witherspoon. And if you come into this game expecting to throw the ball like that, he's going to throw interceptions. He's going to try to force things because he's got the two guys. He's like, oh, well, I can throw it to Hill, and he's just going to catch it. No, that's not what's going to happen. You're going to throw an interception to Tariq Woolen. I think what's going to end up happening is he's going to make one mistake like that. I think it's only going to be one mistake, but I think they do end up making a mistake like that, and it's going to cost him. I think it's going to cost him the game. 21-13 is my score prediction here. I think they'll have a solid game. They'll kind of dink and dunk their way down the field, get a couple field goals, maybe a touchdown that Hill breaks off or Waddle maybe potentially. Devon Achane's probably going to be the guy that gets a lot of things in this game.
Especially if Mostert isn't playing again.
Especially if you're going up against a secondary like that. You're going to have to run the ball a lot to kind of even open it up a little. So if the Seahawks don't have the right game plan defensively, this could turn ugly for them. I think the Dolphins could win this game. But I trust in their young head coach to get it done.
Whoever their name.
No. It's funny because it's Mike Vrabel.
Oh, yeah.
So.
That's so funny.
Okay, bro. He's not young, but 21-13. Okay, bro. He's not Bryce Young.
Next game!
Good thing he's not Bryce Young. They'd lose. But 21-13, I think the Seahawks get it done. So we both picked the same one in that one. How about this one? Raiders-Panthers. Raiders-Panthers is another one on the schedule, sadly. But Carolina's got to play, so who wins?
Well, no Bryce Young, no problem here for the Las Vegas.
That's so fucked up, bro. Does the Red Rifle get it done?
Oh, no.
In Las Vegas.
No.
They roll the dice.
I'm so sorry. We're literally laughing at this.
I'm sorry, Panthers fans. I really am.
No, but think about it this way. The Raiders beat the Baltimore Ravens at M&T Bank Stadium. They held the Ravens to 23 points, which almost makes me feel like almost makes me feel like the Ravens have an issue on offense, which could be the case. We'll find out this week.
Realistically, they have a knack for choking games in the fourth quarter for some reason. Over the last few years, they've choked a lot.
But yeah, the game was looking pretty piss poor for the Raiders, especially in that third quarter. It looked like the Ravens were about to run away with it. But that defense kept holding them, and then, Devontae Adams got unleashed in that second half.
Brock Bowers, too.
And
throw that out there. He almost had 100 yards.
Yeah, Brock Bowers
9
was
for 98.
surgical for them last week, too. And, the Raiders, I feel like they're flying high right now, and the Panthers, if there was anything lower than hell, I think that's where they are right now. But, give me the Raiders. I don't feel like there's much more explanation, however you say it, needed. Give me the Raiders.
Yeah, I mean, Carolina Panthers fans, one thing I can definitely mention here for you guys is that this is one game closer to the draft. So that's obviously something you can be happy for. But all jokes aside, I think the Raiders win this one 24-10. I think they finally get their first touchdown of the year with Andy Dalton.
Oh my
they
God, they don't even have a touchdown.
No, they don't. They have a grand total of like 9 points this season. I mean, no. Oh, I know they got one touchdown in week 1.
Oh yeah, Bryce Young ran it in.
Yeah. So, sorry, you'll get your second touchdown.
Wait, bench the one player that's scored a touchdown.
Yeah, literally. But then again, I mean, it's bad start. But I think the Ravens, not the Ravens, but the Raiders are going to win this one 24-10. I think they're going to get a lot of pressure on the offensive line there. I think one thing you can say about the Panthers right now is their offensive line is pretty solid. I mean, they just signed Robert Hunt. They have a Kemakwanu, and they just had the other guy there as well. Taylor Moton, the right tackle. So I do think Christian Wilkins is going to have a solid game in this one. I think he's going to be the one that breaks through, considering the center's not all that great on the O-line. It's the one weak spot. But realistically, when your best spot is matched up against someone else's good spot still, it's not really going to be all that great for them. I don't think Andy Dalton's going to have some masterclass game like he did last year where he threw for over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns and like one of their only wins.
Forgot about that.
I do think that they're going to lose this one, obviously, 24-10, but you're in that game. You're not too far away, and I mean, if you're looking at last year, the Ravens didn't do all that great either, so realistically, being in this one is solid for you. So I'm going to go with the Raiders as well over the Panthers, and we're going to hop into the Niners and the Rams. A McVay versus Shanahan masterclass. Are we seeing a lot of points in this one? Are we seeing defense? What do you think happens in this one?
You know, this is a really tough game. I feel like you could predict it a whole lot different if both these teams were healthy going into this game.
Oh, yeah.
But both of them injury-riddled to the core, especially for the Rams. The 49ers just really lost McCaffrey and Debo right now. Kittle's fine. He's good to go. But for the Rams, they basically lost half their team these first 2 weeks, so you got to feel for them right now. Is it safe to say that they're the injury-bitten team this season? I feel like that's pretty safe.
These are the 2 injury-bitten teams by far.
That poor NFC West. Can't be us though. But
Cardinals could win the division.
Looking at this game, how the Niners' offense kind of is without McCaffrey is worse, but without Debo Samuel is normally horrid. Normally their offense is really bad when they don't have those guys, because it's like their whole offense right there.
Right.
But in the regular season, there's one team specifically that normally always beats the Rams, and that is the San Francisco 49ers. Both these teams really beat up, and honestly, with all the injuries on the Rams right now, it's honestly kind of hard to pick the Rams to win right now, just with all the injuries they have right now. They're lucky their running back and quarterback are still healthy at this point.
Oh, yeah. After last week? Oh, yeah.
But I still feel like it's going to be a close game because, division rivals and all that. But you got to go with the Niners right now. Just with how many injuries are on that Rams team, just got to go with the Niners.
Yeah, and so in this one, you may call me crazy because this is not close. 27-13, I think the 49ers absolutely decimate. I'm sorry, but if I'm a Rams fan, I wouldn't even watch this game. Nick Bosa, what's the sack record? 7 sacks in one game? I think Nick Bosa could definitely break that in this game. Zach Gardeck had 3 sacks last week against this Rams offensive line. That is terrible, because who the hell is Zach Gardeck?
How the hell do you remember that name?
Yeah, because of last week. Red Zone. It's the only reason I even know who he is. But he had 3 sacks last week, and then you got Nick Bosa in this game. Nick Bosa, one of the best defensive lineman in the entire game, and he's going to go nuts in this one. I think he's going to have a solid game. Unfortunately, the quarterback on the other side is Matthew Stafford. So
praying for that man right now.
Yeah, he's going to get beat up in this one. Hopefully he can come out of this game healthy. It should be a few more weeks until Steve Avila is back. Nakua's on IR. Kupp could be headed to IR, according to Sean McVay. So with all that being said, their offense is not going to be doing anything in this game. I'm generous with the 13 points, I feel, considering I don't know how they're going to move the ball against Fred Warner and Nick Bosa in this defense without being able to run the ball, because that's the only thing they're really going to be able to do without Kupp and Nakua. So realistically here, I think the 49ers dominate. I think this is going to be a perfect game for the 49ers offense to kind of find its groove and get right, because I think that they're going to have to punt the ball a lot, the Rams are, and I think that this is going to be the game that they kind of get right, get back into it, and they're going to win this one 27-13 in a blowout victory. And now that heads into another game, one of the better. We're down to the final 5, and all 5 of these are looking at least solid.
45 minutes in, too, so we got to hurry up here.
Cardinals, Lions, good game here on tap in Arizona. Marvin Harrison went nuts last week. Does he do it again?
I think there's a good chance he does go nuts again, but it doesn't mean they're going to win. I'm going to go with the Detroit Lions to win this one.
Right.
The Lions are one of those teams where it's like, sure, they lost last week, but they're not going to lose 2 in a row. That's not going to happen.
Yeah, no.
The Lions are such a really good coach team, minus last week, because Dan Campbell said it and everything. Yeah, for the Cardinals, too, they had an amazing game last week also. But you got to also think about it. We just talked about the Rams and how many injuries they have.
Right.
That has a lot to do with why they destroyed them as much as they did. Exactly. So I'm not trying to take away things from the Cardinals. Marvin Harrison had a great game. Like, he destroyed Tre'Davious White Sunday. I felt bad for him, former Bill. But the Lions are not going to lose 2 in a row. I said that once. I'm going to say it again. It's not going to happen. Give me the Lions to beat the Cardinals. I think Kyler Murray, I think he will have a nice day. Like, they played the Bills hard, too. So I think the Cardinals are going to be in it for a while. But I think Goff is going to turn things around in this one. I got the Lions winning this one.
Yeah, I think this game is honestly a very similar matchup to the Texans-Vikings one. Because realistically, the Vikings and Cardinals have done better than expected. The Lions, Texans, 2 of the heavy favorites coming into this year. Obviously, the Lions a little bit different because they lost last week. But the Lions, I'm sorry, I can't see them as 1 and 2. There's just no way I can see that happening. So I'm going to go with Detroit in this one, 34-24. I think they win by 10. I think this is going to be an offensive display from Jared Goff after having an off day last week and stuff like that, having that bad game, 3 interceptions. It's only right that he comes out here and guns a-blazing, fires a few touchdowns to Amon-Ra, maybe like Jameson Williams gets a deep bomb. I don't think that the Cardinals secondary is going to be able to keep up with them. I think this is going to be their toughest test yet, considering the fact they didn't have to deal with Nakua last week due to injury. And then the Bills, obviously, it's just a receiver by committee with them. So, realistically, this is going to be their hardest test. We're going to kind of see what that secondary can do in this game, especially against Amon-Ra and Williams and Laporte almost at Hawkins and Jesus.
Blast from the past there.
But now that I mentioned it, they've had some very good tight ends over the years. Eric Ebron before them. But
oh my God, Steelers
Lions,
legend.
Yeah. Oh God, stop. But Lions Cardinals, I think is going to be a good game. I think Detroit wins by 10 though. Give me the Lions to go 2-1. And now we have the Cowboys Ravens, a game that a lot of people have gone back and forth on over the few weeks. Do the Ravens start out 0-3 for the first time in the John Harbaugh era?
You know, it's tough going into AT&T Stadium against the Dallas Cowboys.
The Saints did it.
Yeah, the Saints did it, so that's something.
The Saints came marching in.
Yeah, you're telling
For
me.
real.
The Cowboys' defense was really, really bad last week. It was god-awful. That is not the Cowboys' defense, though. If they're going to slip up once like that, they're not going to slip up twice like that.
Yeah.
But the Ravens are still going to win this game. Again, like you mentioned, I don't see the Ravens starting 0-3. And the Cowboys...
They got the Bills next, too, so...
Yeah, I know. So it almost makes you hope the Ravens win even more. But as a Bills fan, though, you want them to lose, though, for standings purposes. But I think the Ravens are going to be able to do just enough offensively. It's tough because the Cowboys are a very inconsistent team, I feel like.
Right.
They're a little more consistent in the regular season, I guess you could say. But
but against teams above 500, which luckily for them, the Ravens are not.
But, like, the only reason why it's, like, this game is as tough as it is, like, it's because of the Saints. Like, what the hell's going on in New Orleans right now? They're, like, on steroids blowing teams out.
Derek Carr's going to have a drug test by the end of the week.
I'm surprised he hasn't had one yet.
Yeah.
And it's really tough. I feel like Tony Romo. I don't know, Joe. It's really tough 2 games here, but I feel like if the Ravens can lean on Derrick Henry and actually use him for a full game, for once, like everyone's complaining and bitching about that. I think the Ravens have a really good shot to win. And again, with how that Dallas defense played last week against the Saints, give me the Ravens.
Yeah, give me the Ravens as well. They do not start out 0-3. I think 24-17 is a fair score prediction as well. I think this is going to be one of those games where it's going to be tough to kind of see what these other teams do against the Ravens right now. Considering the Ravens are falling apart, you have them right where you want them. But I think this is the week they finally get right, they get back on track, and they win this one. I think that the Cowboys are going to keep it close, though. I think Dallas realizes how important of a game this is. I think it's a really important game early in the season for both teams, considering that the Cowboys are still trying to win the NFC East, obviously. And then the Ravens right here at 0-2, first time ever going 0-3 with John Harbaugh would be a loss in this game in this situation. So realistically, I think they avoid that. I think they get the job done. I think Dallas is going to have a really tough week, but realistically, to start out 0-2 at home is going to be tough for them, considering last year they were so good at home. And they do well against teams that have losing records, but this is not your typical losing record team. This is the Baltimore Ravens we're talking about. AFC Championship last season, 2-time MVP Lamar Jackson.
Should be no-time MVP Lamar Jackson, by the way.
But,
So where are my Bills gear?
Yeah, I know, right? So I do think that the Ravens get right in this game, and they're going to win it. And so now that's going to segue us into the final 3 games, all primetime. I think the Chiefs and the Falcons game is going to be nuts. Sunday Night Football, Mahomes against Kirk Cousins. Does Cousins go back-to-back weeks with a primetime win? Or do the Chiefs get it done?
We would be in the twilight zone if Kirk Cousins won 2 straight primetime games. Even though I'm going to be rooting for it, I'm going to be jumping up and down in my Bills room. I'm going to be praying to God that the Falcons can beat the Chiefs.
Have you ever seen that shirt? The shirt that's like, my favorite teams are Buffalo and whoever beats the Chiefs. I think you need that shirt. But
I really do need that shirt. But, yeah, I got to go with the Chiefs in this one. Even though the Chiefs lost Isaiah Pacheco to injury, it doesn't matter. They're still going to be a good rushing team. Mahomes is still going to be Mahomes. The offensive line is still going to be great. The defense is still going to be great.
Right.
It's going to be great. It's going to be one of the greatest games you've ever seen. But the game's
Chiefs defense is just a wall.
The one thing that's been a little bit concerning for me for the Chiefs, though, is that how close these games have been. Even though they've been winning these close games.
I mean, you got to think about it, though. They've played very good teams. The Bengals and the Ravens are 2 of the best teams in the AFC. So
are the Bengals a good team?
When they play the Chiefs?
Yeah, they are.
When they play the Chiefs, they're within 3 points every single time. So realistically, this is like a rivalry game at this point. It's like the Ravens-Steelers, where it shouldn't be close, but it is.
Yeah.
It's just how it is, man.
And yeah, I can see Kirk Cousins having one of those primetime Kirk kind of games. And last week, they should not have won last week. Not trying to take away things from the Falcons, but I am. That was an amazing drive to end the game and everything, but
Saquon Barkley too much time on the clock. Barkley should have caught that ball right.
Exactly. Just so many things that just instantly collapsed for Philadelphia's side.
Jalen Hurts is a bum, but, besides the point.
Yeah. But this is the Chiefs' game to lose, I think. They're on the road, though, for the first time this season, so I guess that'll be interesting to see. But Mahomes and company, they're still going to get it done. They're a dynasty right now, so it's hard to pick against dynasties in the NFL. Give me the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, one of those dynasties was the Patriots beating the Falcons in the Super Bowl as well. So, yeah, weird way to segue, but 28-20 is my score prediction for this game, which ironically enough was a score at one point in the Falcons-Patriots Super Bowl.
Okay.
But anyway.
But Kirk Cousins broke the curse last week.
Yeah, no, it doesn't happen. I'm sorry. The Chiefs get the job done. I think that this is going to be a solid game. I think that the Falcons will hang in there for the most part, but those 2 field goals instead of touchdowns are going to really just kind of ruin this game for them. I think Kirk Cousins will have another solid game. They'll put up some decent numbers. That defense should be able to hold for 2 to 3 quarters. But this is going to be the game where Travis Kelce starts to kind of show what he can do. You're playing a team that really, in my opinion, doesn't have a very good linebacker in coverage. And Travis Kelce is going to feast in this one. I think we're going to finally see him start to do what he can do at a regular level. This is going to be a week where he's frustrated. He wants to come out there and do what he can do. And he's going to. And I think he might have a touchdown, maybe 2 even. Who knows? But I think that the Kansas City Chiefs get the job done here, 28-20. They're finally going to start to kind of really run the not really run the ball, but like kind of like run out these games with Travis Kelce more. Because realistically, you got Rashee Rice now, who's kind of taken the league by storm and everything like that. He should be in jail right now. Let's be real, but
yeah, but he's a good player, so he can't be.
So he's scoring touchdowns, but at the same time, I think they're finally going to start to notice things with Rice. They're going to try to double team Rice more often, things of that nature, and Kelsey's going to finally get worked out and get open. And I think he's going to have a good game. I think that the Chiefs are going to have a good game, and they're going to win again with Chris Collinsworth absolutely glazing Mahomes this whole game.
Oh, so, I didn't think about that. Just ruined
first
the game.
Mahomes glazing of the season. Let's get ready. Actually, technically, it started in week 1 with Chris Collinsworth. So.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
But we're going to head into the next game, the Buffalo Bills and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Trevor Lawrence and the Jags 0-2 to this point. On the road in Buffalo, do they lose their third in a row, or does Josh Allen and the Bills finally meet their match on Monday Night Football Part 1?
I think they finally have met their match.
Really?
I do, but they're still going to...
Oh my God, I can't with you.
This game is the ultimate trap game.
Will Owen ever pick against the Bills? Stay tuned.
Okay, you picking against the Bills?
Not in this one, but...
Yeah.
Next week?
Okay.
Next week?
We'll see.
Serious. Depending on how the Ravens.
Looking at this game, the past couple matchups between the Bills and Jaguars have been in the Jaguars' favor, and then plus I think in every single one of those games the Bills have been favored and end up losing because for whatever reason the Jaguars' defense just has their offense figured out. Right. But I thought about I'm gonna be dead serious with you. I was gonna pick the Jacksonville Jaguars to win this game. I mean I was gonna say I was gonna pick them and still write my name down for Bills and everything because but I was still gonna pick the Jaguars I guess. But thinking about this game. This kind of reminds me of how the Bills and Titans were for a little bit. Because the Bills went into Tennessee, favored that one year. They got absolutely their doors blown off of them against the Titans. Night. And then we played them a year after that. We played them well. But again, it was in Tennessee. We still lost. And then as soon as the Titans came to Buffalo, we shut them up real quick and absolutely annihilated them. And I feel like that's like... I'm not going to say the Bills are going to annihilate the Jaguars by any stretch. That's not happening. But the Bills went into Jacksonville, lost against the Jaguars. Then they had the London game, but it was technically still on the road. Lost against the Jaguars in that one. But now Jacksonville is coming into Buffalo. Can the Jaguars beat the Bills in Buffalo with my Bills pen, Bills backpack, Bills shirt, and Bills hat? Can the Jaguars get it done in Buffalo? I feel like I wouldn't be against you if you said yes, that the Jaguars could go into Buffalo and beat the Bills. But that is something that we have not seen yet, is the Jaguars going into Buffalo and beating the Bills. So with that reason, and probably that reason alone, considering this matchup, I'm going to go with the Bills winning this one.
Man, I can't believe that you actually had the exact same thing as me. I thought that this was a lot like the Bills-Titans series, if you will, considering it's been a few games in a row that we've played.
It's a whole new team now.
And so realistically, I mean, you're right, though. You're right. I mean, that whole series went the exact same way, where it was just kind of we got our doors blown off. That one year we were finally projected to win, and then we kind of, like, ruined it. Same thing with the Jaguars, when we lost that game 9-6 in 21. So I do think that it's very similar here. I think that we're going to finally get the job done at home in Buffalo. 31-21 is my score prediction. I think they're going to have a very good score. I think they're going to do a very good job. If you have 31-21 on your website, bro, I'm going to be so annoyed. Because
on my website?
Yeah,
I got a website, guys.
Okay, on your channel. I have a whole website, so you guys should check that out.
TheOTpodcast.com.
Oh, my God. But I think Bills-Jaguars is going to be a good game. I think this is going to be the better of the two Monday night games. I think Buffalo gets it done at home. Josh Allen has another good game against Josh Allen.
Can I just say, this is totally off topic, but how in God's name can you send Joe Buck and Troy Aikman to Cincinnati instead of Buffalo for this Monday night doubleheader?
Yeah, I mean, that's
the Commanders and Bengals.
But that's the one that's technically at 8 o'clock, so...
They should have flipped them.
Yeah, you're right. They could have done that. So,
I don't know.
Who knows? And speaking of which, Bengals Commanders to close out Monday Night Football. Last game of Week 3. Owen, does Cincinnati finally get a win, or do the Commanders shock the world in a sense and win this one on the road in Cincy's country?
In their country. Oh, nice.
You call it Cincy country. I don't know.
Well, the Commanders beating the Giants last week. Hats off to them. Jaden Daniels, first NFL win in the league. Congratulations to him. It was disgusting.
Yeah,
almost as disgusting as the logo. But anyways, going into Cincinnati, the Bengals 0-2 to start the season. I feel like you could take a lot of positives out of the game against the Chiefs, though. There was not a lot of positives to take out Week 1 against the Patriots, but there was a lot of positives against the Chiefs. in a 1-point loss.
Jamar Chase bitching to the refs.
And I'm thinking, this isn't confirmed or anything, but if I had to predict, T. Higgins will be back for this game. And I think the Bengals are going to win this game. They're not going to start 0-3. I know I've been kind of bashing the Bengals so far on this podcast, but they're playing the Commanders this week.
Right.
If the Giants had a kicker, the Giants are probably going to win that game last week. Might be a little bit bold, but just going to go out and say that now. We have the Bengals start 0-3 and lose against the Commanders at home. I feel like it's safe to pull the alarm and start freaking out in Cincinnati if you lose to the Commanders and Jaden Daniels, a guy that's starting his 3rd career start in the NFL.
Especially after what we saw from Trey Hendrickson last week.
Especially after that performance, yeah. So, give me the Bengals to win to close out my picks for Week 3.
Well, I have about 15 seconds before we hit the hour, so I'm probably not gonna hit that. But
damn it.
I do think that I have the Bengals winning against the Commanders. Okay, blame it on me. But I think Cincinnati wins 24-13 in this one. I think that it's going to be a tough display for Burrow and the Bengals, but I think they're going to get the job done. I think Chase finally has a very good game in this one against Emmanuel Forbes as the starting corner. And then if Kendall Fuller is matched up against T. Higgins, I think Higgins plays well as well. I do think Burrow finally gets it right. It's a very good team to get it right against. The Commanders' defense is not that great. I think they'll have a solid game on offense, though. I think that Jaden Daniels will keep them in this game for some of it. I think that running ability, it's not going to happen this week. I don't think he's going to be able to run. You got Logan Wilson and, of course, Trey Hendrickson on the defensive line that you're going to have to worry about. So I don't think they're going to be able to roll out and run the ball like he did against the Giants. So I think this is going to be the game where Jaden Daniels finally kind of fizzles out in this regard. I think that the Bengals win it 24-13 and close out the week.
All right.
So we officially had 3 games that we were different on?
3. Hold on, I'm doing the math right now. 3 games. 3 games this week.
1, 2, 3, 4. I don't see anything
4
on the side.
Well, I got me right here. There's 2 right here. I got my name next to. Yeah. But 3 games.
3 games.
3 games we disagree on. But you gotta close it out, Mr. Host.
Yeah, so 3 games we officially will have to.
Which
look
means
at
someone is gonna have that.
Someone's gonna have this baby next week.
Stop touching that trophy.
Whoa. Okay. So we'll see how it goes. Thank you guys so much for watching another episode of the OT podcast, and we'll see you all next time.
See ya.